शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम्। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Namaskaram. Welcome to the 36th session of Narayaneeyam for Dasakam 24, in which Bhattadri describes Prahlada Charitram. In the previous session, we saw Bhattadri's description in Dasakam 23 of Bhagavan's affection towards his devotees and how even a person of highest eminence, penance and devotion can still commit a serious blunder, even if such blunders were committed unawares, if the Bhagavad consciousness is not constant in oneself. Chitraketu, reputed otherwise as a respectable person, becomes a demon, Vritrasura, because of incurring the wrath of Parameshwari, the goddess Parvati. In that process, we saw how an incorrect swara intonation in chanting while invoking the Ishtadaivam by sage Twashta caused such an adverse effect. Twashta's wrong swara emphasis in the yajna seeking Agni to bless him, to give the most powerful enemy of Indra, turns the phrase Indra Shatru to disastrous consequences, making Indra lot more powerful with the transfer of power from Vritra and thereby causing destruction of Vritra himself. As always, Bhagavan absorbs with Vritra into his permanent abode and gives him Sahyajam because of his prior birth and his tapas and respectability. Today we will see the greatness of Prahlada Charitram, which is one of the most significant highlights in Srimad Bhagavatam and equally highlighted in about 11 Puranas as a shining example of Bhakta Karunya Vatsalyam, Bhagavan's compassionate love towards his bhaktas as from a mother to the child, often reiterated as Matru Vatsalyam. It expounds on life's sacred codes of conduct on Bhagavan's mission of protecting his devotees and destroying evil. As a prelude to this exceptional story, Bhattadri first describes in this Dasakam the life of Prahlada's demonic father Hiranyakasipu and the reasons for his enmity towards Bhagavan, thus placing Prahlada's story into a dramatically instructive anecdote of eminence. Sage Kashyapa Prajapati, as you may recollect, was the son of Marichi, who was in turn the son of Brahma, the creator. Kashyapa married Diti, who was one of the 13 daughters of Daksha, according to delineation of Vamsa, namely the genealogical description of the Saura Purana, one of the Upapuranas on Shaktam. Kashyapa got through his wife, Diti, two sons, namely Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakasipu, and a daughter named Simhika. we always mention Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakasipu. In fairness, it should have been Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. Because the stories of Varaha come first and Narasimha comes later, and even in the Dashavatara lineage, we call Varaha as the third avatara and Narasimha as the fourth avatara. We have placed Hiranyaksha ahead of Hiranyakasipu. In fairness, Hiranyaksha is the younger brother and Hiranyakasipu is the older brother. Of these two sons, Hiranyaksha got bones from Brahma and roamed about as a very valiant hero, destroying everything on earth and rolling the earth to the depths of the ocean. Mahavishnu then incarnated as Svetavaraha, and after killing Hiranyaksha, lifted Bhudevi from the Patala Lokam and restored it to her original position. Hiranyakasipu became terribly angry at Mahavishnu for killing his younger brother Hiranyaksha, and with a view to wreaking vengeance on Mahavishnu, performed severe penance to propitiate Brahma. When Hiranyakasipu went to the forest for performing penance for 100 Deva Samvatsarams or 100 divine years, equivalent to 360,000 of human years, the Devas attacked the land of the demons. A great fight ensued in which hordes, or if not millions of asuras, were destroyed. While fleeing away from the scene, Indra took away Kayadu, pregnant wife of Hiranyakasipu, by force. The background of Kayadu, a Danavi, is described in Brahmanda Purana, 3rd canto, Matsya Purana, 6th canto, Vayu Purana, 67th canto, Vishnu Purana, very first canto, in addition to Srimad Bhagavata Puranam, where we see a lot of highlights which will be also brought in during these episodes when we go ahead with the Narayaneeyam. Narada, who heard the moaning of the pregnant queen of Daityas, namely Kayadu, under the clutches of Indra, was so upset that he admonished Indra and got her released from Indra's hold. For some time, Kayadu stayed in the ashrama of Narada under his protection. Narada then taught the child in Kayadu's womb all knowledge: Vedas, Shastras, moral philosophy, dharma and duty, and spiritual knowledge. And this is the child that's going to become Prahlada soon. And that is why we use the term Garbha Shriman. He was comprehensively knowledgeable even while he was in the formation in the mother's womb. When Hiranyakasipu returned after his penance, Narada brought back Kayadu to Hiranyakasipu, and very soon Kayadu gave birth to Prahlada. Hiranyakasipu through Kayadu had 4 more sons: Samhlada, Anuhlada, Sibi, and Bhaskala. We will see later that Prahlada got 3 sons named Virochana, Kumbha, and Nikumbha. The celebrated emperor Mahabali was the son of Virochana. So if you can see that, Prahlada, Virochana, then Mahabali. Bana was the son of Mahabali. Usha, daughter of Bana, was married to Aniruddha, son of Pradyumna, who also happens to be the grandson of Sri Krishna. All these and the genealogy are available in several of the scriptures: Mahabharata chapter 65, Adi Parva, and chapter 19 of Agni Purana, chapter 15, Amsa 1 of Vishnu Purana, and extensively in 10 chapters of the 7th skandam or canto of Srimad Bhagavata Puranam. Let us now listen to the very first slokam of Bhattadiri announcing the background. Hiranyakshe pautri pravaravakusha deva bhavata atesho kadroda glapita druti etasya sagajaha hiranyam Ramba Kashipu Amaradi Sadasi Pratigyamatena Tavakilavadatam Madhuripo Tavakilavadatam Madhuripo. हिरण्याक्षे पोत्री प्रवर वपुषा देव भवता हते शोक क्रोध ग्लपित धृतिः एतस्य सहजः हिरण्य प्रारंभः कशिपुः अमर आराधि सदसि प्रतिज्ञमातेन तव किल वधार्थम मधुरिपो. O Bhagavane, destroyer of Madhu, when Hiranyaksha was killed by you in the form of a mighty boar, Varaha, his brother by name Kashipu with the prefix Hiranya, who had lost his mental balance due to grief and uncontrollable rage, took a solemn vow in the assembly of the enemies of Devas, namely in front of all daityas, asuras, that he shall kill you. Bhattadri makes it clear by using the word kila that Hiranyakasipu would not be able to fulfill his vow. By addressing the Lord as Madhuripo, enemy of Madhu, the poet apparently wants to point out that the Lord would kill Hiranyakasipu without any difficulty, as he was able to do the demon Madhu when he reproached even Brahma at the beginning of the creation. The poet also indicates that Hiranyakasipu would be killed in the same manner as demon Madhu was killed after laying him flat on his thighs. Vidhataram ghoram sakalu Vidhataram ghoram sakalu tapasitvana chirataha Purasakshat kurvan Suranaram mrigadehi anidhano Varam labdva drupto Varam labdva drupto Jagadika bhavannayakam imam parikshundan indrat agaradivam tvam aganayan idam parikshundan bhavannayakam idam parikshundan indrat agaradivam tvam aganayan. Vidhataram ghoram sakalu tapasitva na chirataha puraha sakshat kurvan suranara mrigaddehi anidhanam varam labdhva drupto jagat iha bhavannayakam idam parikshundan indrat aharatadivam tvam aganayan. O Bhagavane, driven by his own vow and his hankara to kill you, Hiranyakasipu did severe penance, sakalu ghoram tapasitva, and thus coerced Brahma, who happens to be his great-grandfather, with no other option left but to appear before him and obtained the boon from his great-grandfather. The poet makes a beautiful statement, Sakshat kurvan vidhataram puraha na chirataha labdva. That he could not be killed by any among the multitudes of living beings created by him in this world, including God, man, and beast. All stipulations, although most not mentioned by Bhattadri, that he asks, such as, he might not meet with the death at the hands of any being created by Brahma. He will not meet with death inside or outside, by the day or night, by any weapon not on earth or in the sky, by men or beasts, gods or asuras, and that he was to be without an equal. He should possess undiminishing power and be the one ruler of all creatures. All of these requests were put in the form of a boon, but Bhattadri doesn't list all of them. Well, Brahma granted all these, after which Hiranyakasipu spread his sway on all the worlds and usurped the seat of Indra. But that's the first thing that the demons do when they receive extensive powers, if not uncontrollable power. That is what demons normally do. So Hiranyakashipu became reckless in his actions and inconsiderate in his behavior towards everyone. He chose other subservient daityas who matched his or often surpassed his cruelty and inhuman behavior, many of whom had no bar or semblance of mercy or decency. So when a murka becomes almost the all-powerful king or dictator or the leader of a nation, in the modern world, he only befriends other dictators who are as cruel, as inhuman, and who have no semblance of mercy or decency. This is a very common trait from the Puranic days, whether it was actually in the very first Yuga or second Yuga or Dwapara Yuga or Kali Yuga, the pattern continues. Well, if any of you have doubts about Puranas that vividly detail the above episode, simply tune in one of the dozens of international and national channels to hear about Hiranyakasipu administration in various parts of the world. With his innate arrogance augmented by the boon, Kashipu pulverized the entire world that came running to you, Bhagavane, for protection. Kashipu went to the next step of usurping the other heavenly regions as well. Nigantum tvam bhuyaha, nigantum tvam bhuyaha, tavabadam avaptasya charipo. Nigantum tvam bhuyaha, tavabadam avaptasya charipo. Bahidritte antardhadita hridaye sukshma vapusha. Bahidritte antardhadita hridaye sukshma vapusha. Nadam uchchai tatrapi akila bhuvanante cha mrugayan vijayatam bhaktva sakalojitakachi nivavrute. Nadam uchchai tatrapi akila bhuvanante cha mrugayan vijayatam bhaktva sakalojitakachi nivavrute. Nihantum tvam bhuyaha tava padam avaptasya charipoho bahirdrishte antardhadita hridaye sukshma vapusha nadhan uchchaihi tatrapi akila bhuvanante cha mrigayan bhiya yatam matva sakalujita kashi nivavrite. Oh Bhagavane, after conquering heaven by defeating Indra, Hiranyakasipu reached your abode Vaikuntha to destroy you. But he could not see you as you had become invisible to him. There is nothing surprising in this, as the wicked Asura, having no inner eye or any sense, only completely becoming a Maudya with so much of rage, could see only external things with physical eyes and with zero knowledge. Besides, does one need to go up to Vaikuntha Loka to see you? He did not understand that he could see you anywhere and everywhere, and very soon he is going to do that. Etcha kinchit jagatyasmin drishyate shruyate piva antar bahitcha tatsarvam vyapya narayana stitaha. You all have heard Mahanarayana Upanishad. The meaning is Narayana is spread everywhere, inside and outside of everything, seen or heard of in the universe. You are always present everywhere, in all objects inside and outside. No, you are present in subtle form, even in the hearts of those like Hiranyakasipu, who are inimical to you because you are right inside him. Only thing is, he is not able to see you or feel you. Only devotees who have developed inner eyes, who are dedicated to you and are surrendered to you, can clearly perceive your omnipresence inside them and outside them. Those who are blinded by the darkness of ignorance and ahankara and arrogance can never see you, even if they reach your abode, the Vaikuntha Loka, because you are invisible. That is actually the interpretation of when Hiranyakasipu could not see Vishnu wherever he went, Mahavishnu did not become invisible to the world. He was only invisible to Hiranyakasipu because he did not have the proper eye. Krishna says this, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyaha asti na priyaha. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapi aham. O Arjuna, I am equally disposed of all living beings. I am neither inimical nor partial to anyone. But the devotees who worship me with so much of love reside in me and I reside in them mutually. Roaring loudly, Hiranyakasipu wandered about seeing you in Vaikuntha Loka and all the 14 worlds. He never saw you as you remained hidden in his heart in subtle form and had become invisible to his external eyes. The foolish Asura concluded that you had fled away in fear and had hidden yourself secretly away from him, purely out of fear for him. Considering it a sheer waste of time and energy to search for a cowardly enemy, Kashipu proclaimed to the whole world of victory and returned to his capital. We see this typically happening around us. I don't have to go further explaining this phenomenon. ततो अस्य प्रह्लादः समजनिसुतो गर्भवसतो मुनेः वीरापाणेः अधिगतः भवद्भक्तिमहिमा स वै जात्या दैत्यः शिशुरपि समेत्य द्वैरतिम् गातत्वद्भक्तानां वरद परम उदाहरणकरां गतत्वद्भक्तानां वरद परम उदाहरणकरां ततो अस्य प्रह्लादः समजनिसुतो गर्भवसतौ मुनेः वीणापाणेः अधिगत भवद्भक्तिमहिमा स वै जात्या दैत्यः शिशुरपि समेत्य त्वयिरतिं गतत्वद्भक्तानां वरदपरम उदाहरणताम्. As I said earlier, Narada protected Kayadu in his abode until the child was born. During Kayadu's stay with Narada, the great sage, bearing in mind the benefit that was bound to be derived by the fetus in Kayadu's womb, repeatedly advised Kayadu on the greatness and glory of devotion to Bhagavan. Thus to Hiranyakasipu was born a son Prahlada, who had imbibed the spirit and majesty of devotion to the Brahman from sage Narada, even when he was in his mother's womb. Though he was born in the Asura race, because of sage Narada's brilliant tutelage, Prahlada became a great devotee of Srimad Narayana from his very childhood. Endowed with intense love to you, this small boy shone as the most outstanding example of bhakti to your devotees. You confer your grace on your devotees purely based on their intense devotion and not on their race, who they are, and what they are, or what their age is, or what their origin is. Surarinamasym tava charanadasyam nijasute Surarinam asyam tava charanadasyam nijasute Sadrudva duddhatma guruvi asisikshate chiram mamu Guru proktam cha asavidam imam abhadraya dridamiti apakurvan sarvam tava charana bhakti bhavute Surarinam hasyam tava charana dasyam nijasute Sadrishtva dushtatma gurubihi asisikshat chiram amum Guru proktam cha asavidam idam abhadraya dridamiti apakurvan sarvam tava charana bhakti eva bhuvrade. Devotion to you is something intolerable to the asuras. People with demonic behavior cannot understand the power of prayer, power of worship, and the power of the Almighty. Because this is narcissistic asuras consider himself to be absolutely powerful, and thus there is no God to watch over them. If the cycle repeats, they always condemn you and scoff at those worshipping you. Wicked by his very nature, the Asura king Hiranyakasipu noticed that his son Prahlada was completely absorbed in his devotion and service to the lotus feet of his bitter enemy, that is you. To nip this evil tendency of his son in the bud itself, Kashipu engaged Sanda and Amarka, two sons of Acharya Shukra, as teachers to Prahlada. The teachers attempted to impart Trivarga, namely, three ends of human endeavor, Dharma, Artha, Kama, was taught to Prahlada by the tutors. This did not appeal to Prahlada. It should be a means to realize Hari according to Prahlada. Prahlada said, whatever you teach me of Dharma, Artha, Kama, the way you teach me can take me to my Vishnu. It makes sense to me. Otherwise, whatever you teach is absolutely useless to me. Even the householder, it is said, should not exert himself too much for such Trivarga. That is the purpose of highlighting this in Srimad Bhagavatam as well as in Narayaneeyam. Trivarga is okay if the teachers teach, provided the person who is receiving the instruction of Trivarga has so much attachment towards God. If that is missing, Trivarga is useless. But it is generally observed by householders as something essential to be learned without any intense bhakti towards the ultimate, namely, they have to understand that Trivarga is just an upaya and the upayam is something else, and the goal is different. A bhikshu is expected to discard it. To one devoid of dharma, the other two, kama and artha, are of no use. Sukha says to Parikshit that such knowledge also teaches a political lesson of differentiating a friend from a foe, which did not appeal to Prahlada, who only wanted to love everyone as his Narayana was and is in everyone. So this friend and foe business was completely unappealing to Prahlada, because for him, he saw Narayana in everyone, he saw Narayana everywhere, and everything else, even inanimate. Yet tatra guruna proktam shushruve anupapatasya na sadhu manasa mene swapara asad grihashriyam. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 5th chapter. Prahlada certainly heard and recited the topics of politics and economics taught by the teachers, but he understood that political philosophy involves considering someone a friend and someone else an enemy, and thus the political philosophy never appealed to him because it was already dividing even at the knowledge level how to divide people between friends and foes. Prahlada soon realized that all such education forced on him was inauspicious and would only lead to worldly pleasures that are opposed to Bhagavan's ways. Prahlada went further by lecturing to his own playmates and classmates on the importance of devotion to Hari. Even from childhood, whenever the teachers were not there, he started talking in the completely different direction. As it is rare to be born as a man, and even as a man, one half of the life is wasted in sleep. These are all the things that Prahlada was telling his friends, playmates and schoolmates. This is how he describes it. It is very rare to have a human birth. And then, one half of a human's birth is wasted in sleep and 1/4 in old age. Once one got into the groove of samsara, it was not possible to get out of it. So Prahlada asked them to aim at the knowledge following the pure Bhagavata Dharma. Hiranyakasipu came to know what is going on. Teachers teaching one thing, Prahlada ignoring all of that, and then Prahlada teaching all the playmates and schoolmates, converting everybody to his own way of Bhagavata Dharma. It was too much for Hiranyakasipu. he was filled with so much rage. Aditeshu svettam kimiti pariprutte adatanaye. Aditeshu svettam kimiti pariprutte adatanaye. Bhavat bhaktin varyam abhigadati varya kuladritihi. Gurubhyo roshitva sahajamatihi asyeti abhividam vadhopayanasmin vyatanuta bhavatpagada charane. Vadhopayanasmin vyatanuta bhavatpada charane. Pada charane. Aditeshu svettam kimiti pariprushte atatanaye bhavat bhaktim varyam abhigadati paryakula dhritihi gurubhyo roshitva sagajamatihi asyeti abhividan vadhopayanasmin vyatanuta bhavat pada charane. Bhattadri plainly starts, once when the son was asked by Hiranyakasipu. Whereas Sukha says in Bhagavatam as an answer to the query of Dharmaputra, Ekada asurarat putramangam Ekada asurarat putramangam aropya pandava prabhacha katyatam vatsamanyate katyatam vatsamanyate sadhu yadbhava. Ekada asurarat putramankam aropya pandava prapachya katyatam vatsa manyate sadhu yadbhavan. Hiranyakasipu took his son on his lap. He was faking that he was calm, but even though he was boiling inside. Placing Prahlada solidly on the lap, affectionately hugging him and kissing his crown and making him comfortable. And we could easily understand what is going on in his mind. But still, he didn't show it. Let us now see what Bhattadri says. Bhattadri's slokam, which I just now read, says, he then asked him as to what constituted the most excellent lesson he had so far learned from his teachers. Looking at his father, Prahlada replied that most excellent lesson ever learned by him was, one should engage oneself in the 9 disciplines of devotion to Bhagavan. And Hiranyakasipu looked at him staringly, for which Prahlada says, he repeats it. Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Achanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyamatmani Vedanam Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Achanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyamatmani Vedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischennavalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavad Yadha Tanmaye Adhitamuttamo Tanmaye Adhitamuttamo Adhitamuttamo. That is what in Srimad Bhagavatam Sukha says to Parikshit. Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischyen Avalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavat Yadha Tanmaye Adhita Muttamam. Prahlada Maharaja said to Kashipu, hearing in chanting about the transcendental holy name, the form, the qualities, paraphernalia, and all the Leela of Bhagavan Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of Bhagavan, offering the Bhagavan respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to him, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend and surrendering everything unto Him. In other words, serving Him with the body, mind, and words. Whatever upaya you may consider, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Choose any of those 9 upayas. But when you choose those upayas, everything should be for total surrender unto Him. So that manasa, vacha, karmani, you just surrender yourself to Him. And these 9 processes are accepted as pure bhakti or pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Bhagavan through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. On hearing this, Hiranyakasipu could not contain himself and flew into a rage at Prahlada's teachers, Sanda and Marka. He called them, "What kind of idiotic teachers you are?" With such uncontrollable wrath, Kashipu continued, "Are these the wild things you fools are teaching my son all these days? I've been telling you what to teach, and this is what you are teaching him." They denied in earnest that they had imparted the knowledge that he wanted them to impart. Don't you see that there is some commonality as of today in this country? Education is now dictated by the man in power. It is not by scholarly, intelligent, and knowledgeable people. Here, when the dictator tells the teacher what should be taught to the student and what should be hidden from the student, there come, whether it is Purana or something, it's a repetition of what is going on. So the teachers denied that they ever gave the wrong knowledge to him, and it was not their fault, and that it was the natural bent of the boy's mind that led him to divine knowledge. Despite their best effort, they could not change the boy's tendency, which was innate in him from a prior birth. This is how they concluded. When they submitted this to Kashipu, he got so angry, and in rage he instantly threw off his son from his lap as if that was an unwanted thing sitting on the lap. He threw him, thinking that it would be highly improper to foster a son who was always engaged in the worship of his sworn enemy Vishnu, and who is also sworn to destroy the Asura race. Hiranyakasipu decided to kill Prahlada, because if I am going to foster this fellow who is constantly talking about Vishnu and teaching everybody else Vishnu, my throne will be shaken. I can't hold on to this power anymore. There is somebody already working against me. So what he decided was to silence Prahlada and tried many means to accomplish his goal. But could anyone ever kill Prahlada, who was already worshipping the lotus feet of Bhagavan with single-minded devotion? It was without knowing this most sublime truth that Kashipu employed various means to kill his son. Shashulaya viddha, Shashulaya viddha, Subahumatito, Digghajaganaihi, Mahasarpaihi, Dashtobi, Anashanagara, Vidutaham, Girindra Avakshitopi, Girindra Avakshitopi, Agaga Paramatmanai Vipo, Vayinyataatmatvad, Kimavi Nibidam Nabhajatan, Ahi Vipo, Vayinyataatmatvad, Kimavi Nibidam Nabhajatan. Sashulaihi aviddaha, Subhagumatito diggajaganaihi, Mahasarpaihi dashtopi anasanagarahara vidutaha, Girindra avakshiptopi ahaga paramatman ai vibho, Twain nesta atmatvad kimapi nipidam na bhajata. O Guruvayurappa, the wicked Hiranyakasipu thrust on Prahlada's body sharp weapons like tridents, repeatedly had him trampled upon by elephants, let ferocious and poisonous snakes bite him. and starved the boy for days on end and would not even give him a drop of water, and then made him eat poisoned food and even threw him down from the tallest of mountain peaks in his kingdom. Alas, Hiranyakasipu tortured his son with all such cruelties, but the boy, his mind constantly in your thought, never felt any pain or suffering. Bhagavane, you are the supreme spirit pervading everywhere in subtle form. You had absolutely no difficulty in extricating your great devotee Prahlada without any harm from any calamity that might befall him at any place and time. Because Prahlada believed in Vishnu. The most important thing to remember is, if we all require help from outside to protect us from oppression and punishment, we should totally believe in the Almighty and the power of the Almighty. And we should also do dharma to the core and have total trust in Bhagavan. When these two are there, the ultimate result is nothing but good. The famous poet Bharadayar used to say, Dharmathin வாழ்வுதனை சூது கவ்வும் பின்னர் தர்மம் வெல்லும் வெல்லும் வெல்லும். He said, the life of dharma will always be afflicted by cunningness and bad and evil. But ultimately, what is going to win? Dharma. And how? Dharmam vellum vellum vellum. He repeated it thrice, saying, Dharma shall be victorious, shall be victorious, and shall be victorious. This aspect of the Lord, namely his eagerness in protecting his devotees from harm, is aptly made clear by Narayana Bhattadri when he addresses him as Vibho Paramatman. This was the ultimate test for Prahlada Bhakti. The Gopala Tapani Upanishad says that the word Bhakti means engagement in the devotional service of the Supreme Brahman. Bhakti means only to do bhakti to Bhagavan for the sake of bhakti. There should be no motivation even to do that kind of bhakti. There should not be result-oriented. Bhakti is also called Nishkarma, or freedom from the results of fruitive activity. Bhakti and Nishkarma are on the same platform, although devotional service and fruitive activity appear the same. Fruitive activity is karma. Devotional service is bhakti. Bhakti and karma may appear to be the same, but bhakti and nishkarma are on the same platform. Tatashanka vitta sabuna adiduttaha Tatashanka vitta sabuna adiduttaha Asya janakaha guru kyatagge Kila varuna bhashai tam varunat Guru kyatagge Kila varuna bhashai tam arunat Gurocha asannidye sat punanugan daitya tanayan Bhavat bhakteye tattva paramamavi vijnanam asishat Bhavat bhakteye tattvam paramamavi vijnanam asishat Vijnanam asishat Tata Shankavishtaha Sapunaha Atidushtaha Asya Janakaha Guruktya Tadgehe Kila Varuna Pasaihi Tam Marunat Guroscha Asan Nidye Sapunaha Anugan Daitya Tanayan Bhavat Bhaktehe Tattvam Paramamapi Vijnanam Asishatu. As described earlier, all attempts of Hiranyakasipu to kill Prahlada were nothing but in vain. Not only that, Prahlada did not experience any bhayam, any fear, confusion or distress. This perplexed Hiranyakasipu. He thought, well, I've been putting this boy through all kinds of hell, not one hell, all kinds of hell. But nothing happens to him. He doesn't understand. He had never applied such a hard and violent torture even against his fiercest enemies of great prowess as he had inflicted on his own son, Prahlada, a boy of mere 5 years. Kashipu thought that some divine power was always with his son, providing him protective cover, or that the boy himself might be endowed with extraordinary powers, not knowing whether even this is some unusual mantrik, tantric and ghostly powers. Surely he was not a mere asura lad. Such thoughts completely unnerved Hiranyakasipu, and he was frightened and confused. He did not know what to do. The preceptors Sanda and Amarka, whom I said were the sons of Sukracharya, told Hiranyakasipu, O Maharaja, do not be afraid. Enters Prahlada to us again, bound by cords of Varuna Pasa. Varuna Pasa are very difficult to get out of. So tie him with that Varuna Pasa because you know the mantra. Hand him over to us, completely tied with Varuna Pasa. We'll take care of it. Otherwise, Prahlada may desert us and even join the ranks of our enemies, Devas, and become much worse than what he is now. So it is better you tie him with Varuna Pasa and hand him over to us. Accepting the advice of these fellows, who are the preceptor's sons, that is Sukracharya's sons, Kashipu sent Prahlada to their house, bound with cords of Varuna or Varuna Pasa by mantra sadhana. He also restricted Prahlada's free movement in their residence. Thus, Prahlada was completely confined to the quarters of the teachers with no ability to go anywhere. However, whenever the teachers were away, Prahlada taught his classmates, the young Asura boys who came to him out of compassion, the nature of devotion to Bhagavan and who is Vishnu and what his greatness was. He even instructed them on that most exceptional knowledge, namely the knowledge of the Brahman or knowledge of Atman. Pita shunvan bala prakaram akilam twadstuti param rushanda pragainam kulahataka kaste balam iti. Pita shunvan bala prakaram akilam twadstuti param rushanda pragainam kulahataka kaste balam iti. Balam me वैकुण्ठस्तव च जगतां च अपि सबलं बलं मे वैकुण्ठस्तव च जगतां चापि सबलं स एव त्रैलोक्यं सबलं स एव त्रैलोक्यं सकलमिति धीर अयम् अगधीति स एव त्रैलोक्यं सकलमिति धीरः अयमगति अयमगति. पिता शृण्वन् बालप्रकरमखिलं त्वत्स्तुतिपरं रुषान्तप्राहैनं कुलहतककस्ते बलम् इति. बलं मे वैकुण्ठस्तव च जगतां च अपि स बलं स एव त्रैलोक्यं sakalamiti dhiraha ayamagadit. The courageous Prahlada unhesitatingly replied, Bhagavan who resides in Vaikuntha Loka is the stellar strength for me. For you also is the same refuge. You who strut about claiming that you have defeated him in battle, though you have not, he is your strength and support so far and will continue to be. But as long as you remember that he is your balam. Not only that, but the Lord is also the support to all the worlds, both conquered and unconquered by you so far. You did not conquer everybody. You have conquered many worlds, but not all of them. But he will be your support if you want to conquer everything else, provided you believe in him and surrender to him. Indeed, all the three worlds consist of living and non-living things, are all his manifestations only. There is nothing in this world which is not of Bhagavan or by the Bhagavan. Well, Prahlada hit the fuse. And once the fuse was lit, it blew away Hiranyakasipu. He exploded. Hare Kwasau Sakala Jagadatma Hari Prabhinte Hare Kwasau Hare Kwasau Sakala Jagadatma Hari Prabhinte Sma Stambam Chalita Karavalo Iti Sudahat Tamhom Chalita Karavalo Diti Sutaha अतः पश्चात् विष्णो नहि अतः पश्चात् विष्णो नहि वदितुमीशास्मि सहसा कृपात्मन् विश्वात्मन् पवनपुरवासिन् मृडय माम् ईशः अस्मि सहसा कृपात्मन् विश्वात्मन् पवनपुरवासिन् मृडय माम्. अरे क्वासौ क्वासौ सकल जगदात्मा हरिहि इति प्रबिन्दे स्मत् स्तम्भं चलितकरवालोदिति सुतः अतः पश्चात् विष्णो न हि वदितुमीशः अस्मि सहसा कृपात्मन् विश्वात्मन् पवनपुरवासिन् मृडय माम्. Greatly agitated, Hiranyakasipu shouted at his son, "Wretched fellow, Arpa Padare, where is your Vishnu? Where is your Hari, who you say is the soul of the world and protector of the world? Quick, tell me, where is he?" Prahlada calmly replied that the Supreme Bhagavan was everywhere. If only his father wanted to look at him. Then the Asura king pointed to a pillar and questioned him. "If that is true, why is your Lord not seen in this pillar?" Prahlada, the greatest bhakta, unhesitatingly replied, "Who said he is not there? Bhagavan is present in that pillar." "Well, I do see him there. I am such a small boy. Don't you see him? You can't see him? Make an attempt." "I am seeking your indulgence," interrupting Bhattadri and Sukha, bringing Kampan for his exquisite description of Narasimha Avatara, of what we spoke about now. Whenever Prahlada got a window of opportunity, he never wasted time in giving detailed instructions to his Asura friends on devotion to Bhagavan and about the knowledge of the self, namely Atman. This converted his classmates, making them sing the glory of the Lord. Whenever the teachers were not there, they were singing along with Prahlada because they were completely converted by Prahlada. Kampa Ramayanam in Yuddhakanda, Kampan says in Iranian Vadai Padalam something very exquisite. Kavi Chakravartiki Prahladan Pal Adavakadanta Maryade. I have to use Tamil in between because we are talking about Kampa Ramayanam. Kampan revered Prahlada and his admiration poured out in emotional poetry. At first, Kampan describes the great incarnation of Prahlada as the finest son anyone can wish or hope for, the scholar par excellence of all scholars. If one were to look for a purist, it is Prahlada, who is purer than the Vedas, and he is also a hero as a singular jnani. He is the leader of pure Dharma or Dharma Prabhu. He goes on and on and on. Kampan couldn't stop. Let us enjoy at least a fragment of his kamitvam in this regard. ஆயவந்தனக்கு அருமகன் அறிஞரின் அறிஞன் தூயரென்பவர் யாரினும் மறையினும் தூயான். ஆயவன் தனக்கு அருமகன் அறிஞரின் அறிஞன் தூயரென்பவர் யாரினும் மறையினும் தூயான். நாயகன் தனி ஞானி நல் அறத்துக்கு நாதன் தாயின் மண்ணுயிர்க்கு நினன் உடனொரு தப்போ. ஓம் நமோ நாராயணாய. Company is elaborate, but let us see some of his funny dialogues between the teachers and Prahlada in Kampan's words. Teacher says, "Yes, go ahead and say Hiranyakasipuve Namaha." இரணியன் பெயரை ஆசிரியன் ஓதச் சொல்ல சிறுவன் ஓம் நமோ நாராயணாய என்று உரைக்கிறான் என்கிறான் கம்பன். When the teachers force Prahlada to repeat the name of Hiranyakasipu several times in place of Namo Narayanaya, Prahlada refuses and says Om Namo Narayanaya. And not only that, Prahlada closes his ears and says, O respected teachers, this is not proper teaching or tapas which you are supposed to teach me. Let me tell you the origin of Vedas so that you get the full understanding and start teaching us properly as to what should be taught.
ஓத புக்கவன் உந்தை பேருரையனலோடும் ஓதத்தன் செவித்தோளை இரு கைகளால் பொத்தி முதக்கோயிது நல் தவம் என்று என மொழியா முதக்கோய் இது நல் தவம் என்று என மொழியா வேதத்து உச்சியின் மெய் பொருட்பெயரினை விரித்தான். ஓம் நமோ நாராயணாய என்றுரைத்து உளம் உருகி தானமைந்து இரு தடக்கையும் தலைவிசை தாங்கி ஊனிர கண்கள் உணலுக மயிர்புறம் பொடிப்ப ஞானநாயகன் இருந்தனன்.
ஓம் நமோ நாராயணாய என்று உரைத்து உளமுருகி தான் அமைந்து இரு தடக்கையும் தலைமிசை தாங்கி பூநிறக் கண்கள் புனல் உக மயிர்ப்புறம் பொடிப்ப ஞானநாயகன் இருந்தனன். அந்தணன் நடுங்கி
கெடுத்து ஒழிந்தனை என்னையும் முன்னையோ கெடுவாய் படுத்து ஒழிந்தனை பாதி எத்தேவரும் பகர்தற்கு அடுத்தது அன்றியே அயல் ஒன்று பகரனின் அறிவில் எடுத்தது என் இது அடுத்தது அன்றியே அயலொன்று பகர நின் அறிவில் எடுத்தது என் இது என் செய்த வண்ணம் நீ என்றான்.
அந்தணன் சொல்லுகிறான், கெடுத்து ஒழிந்தனை என்னையும் உன்னையும் கெடுவாய் படுத்து ஒழிந்தனை பாவி எத்தேவரும் பகர்தற்கு அடுத்தது அன்றியே அயலொன்று பகர நின் அறிவில் எடுத்தது என் இது என் செய்த வண்ணம் நீ என்கிறான் ஆசிரியன். அதற்கு பிரகலாதன் சிறுவன் மறுமொழி கொடுக்கிறான்.
என்னை உய்வித்தேன் எந்தையை உய்வித்தேன் என்னை உய்வித்தேன் எந்தையை உய்வித்தேன் இணைய உன்னை உய்வித்திய உலகையும் உய்விப்பான் அமைந்து முன்னை வேதத்தின் முதற் பெயர் மொழிவது மொழிந்தேன் உன்னை வேதத்தின் முதற் பெயர் மொழிவது மொழிந்தேன் என்னை குற்றம் நான் இயம்பியது என்னை குற்றம் நான் இயம்பியது இயம்புதி என்றான் சிறுவன் இயம்புதி என்றான்.
குருவின் அறிவுரையை மறுத்து பிரகலாதன் சொல்லியவை நிறைய உண்டு. There are so many, but I will use one for each.
முந்தை வானவர் யாவர்க்கும் முந்தை வானவர் யாவர்க்கும் முதல்வர்க்கும் முதல்வன் முந்தை முந்தை வானவர் யாவர்க்கும் முதல்வர்க்கும் முதல்வன் முந்தை மற்றவன் திருப்பெயர் உரை செயற்கு உரிய அந்தணன் ஆடனே என்னினோ அறிதியோ ஐய எந்தை இப்பெயர் உரைத்தியனை கெடுத்திடல் என்ற.
முந்தை வானவர் யாவர்க்கும் முதல்வர்க்கும் முதல்வன் உந்தை மற்ற அவன் திருப்பெயர் உரை செயற்கு உரிய அந்தணனானேன் என்னினும் அரிதியோ ஐயா எந்தை இப்பெயர் உரைத்து என கெடுத்திடேல் என்றான். Prahlada is adamant and says the following. Kampa uses 7 poems as Prahlada's response to the teachers, but I will use only one of them.
வேதபாரகனப்புரை விளம்பலோ வேதபாரகனப்புரை விளம்பலும் வேதபாரகன் வேதபாரகன் அவுரை விளம்பலும் விமலன் ஆதிநாயகன் பெயரன்றி யான் பிரிது அறியேன் ஆதிநாயகன் பெயரந்தியான் பிரிது அறியேன். ஓத வேண்டுவது இல்லை, ஓத வேண்டுவது இல்லை. என் உணர்வினுக்கு ஒன்றும் போதியானதும் இல்லை என்று இவை புகழ்ந்தான்.
வேதபாரகன் நம் உரை விளம்பலும் விமலன் ஆதிநாயகன் பெயரென்று யான் பிரிது அறியேன். ஓத வேண்டுவது இல்லை, என் உணர்வினுக்கு ஒன்றும் போதியாததும் இல்லை என்று இவை என்று புகன்றான். Hiranyakasipu happened to hear their constant argument and all other students joining in chanting Bhagavan's name. Kashipu became furious at Prahlada. His son had not only become perverse, but has now started perverting all the Asura kids, teaching them all undesirable things and making them inimical to him and his rule. Hiranyakasipu forgot himself and in a fit of absolute fury, an uncontrollable rage, shouted at his son, "Because of you, the entire Asura race could be destroyed. We don't need any enemy from outside. Who is your instigator, Prahlada? Completely disregarding all my orders, with whose support do you do this, despite having been endlessly tormented and chastised by me? Let me now calmly ask you, who is that fellow?" Prahlada answers, in the words of Kampan, there is a beautiful song.
ஆபதம் கடந்தான் ஆரும் யாவையும் தருவதோ ஆபதம் கடந்தான் ஜெயமகீடுர செய்வதோ ஜெயமகீடுர செய்வதோ ஜெயமகீடுர செய்வதோ ஜெயமகீடுர செய்வதோ செல்வடல் முகந்தா ஜெயமகீடுர செய்வதோ செல்வடல் முகந்தா ஓமவேணியின் குருபாயன் உய்வதோ குருவன் ஓமவேணியின் குருபயன் உய்வதோ ஒருவன் அண்ணில் இன்னுமே மலரையும் உலகு உறவாடு அண்ணில் இன்னுமே மலரையும் உலகு உறவாடு எண்ணில் பனத்திரிகளையை வந்து எண்ணில் பனத்திரிகளையும் நிறைந்துள்ள கரணத்தின் ஓங்கு உள உணர்வும் நிறைந்துள்ள கரணத்தின் ஓங்கு உள உணர்வு எண்ணுகின்றது இவ்விட்டெழுத்தே எண்ணுகின்றது இவ்விட்டெழுத்தே இல்லை நாம் அந்தருகே நமோ நாராயணாய நாமம் அந்தருகே நாமம் அந்தருகே நாமம் அந்தருகே
He has created the Brahma, that is your great grandfather. He has created everybody from this advent of creation to anything that you look around. நிற்பன திரிவன பூதங்கள் ஏன் எல்லாவற்றிலும் இருப்பது மட்டுமல்ல, உள் நிறைந்துள்ள கரணத்தின் ஊங்கு உள உணர்வும் in your heart he is there. He is pervading into you. He is pervading outside you. All of them that will be felt if you can pronounce this Narayanaya a few times, and you will enjoy all of them. Whatever I say, you will be able to feel it. Piridu illai, there is no doubt about it. Namam annadu kel Om Namo Narayanaya. Of course, there are many other beautiful poetry there from Kampan.
ஷானிலும் உடன் ஓர் தன்மை அணுவினை சதபூரியிட்ட கோணிலும் உடன் மாமேறு குன்றினும் உடன் இன்னின்ற தூணினும் உடன் நீ சொன்ன சொல்லினும் உடன் இத்தன்மை காடுதி விரைவின் என்றான் சிறுவன் நன்று எனக்கனகன் மூன்று அவன் குணங்கள் சிறுவன் தொடர்ந்தான் மூன்று அவன் குணங்கள் செய்கை மூன்று அவன் உருவோ மூன்று மூன்று கண் சுடர்கொள் சோதி மூன்று அவன் உலகம் மூன்று தோன்றலும் இடையும் ஈரும் தொடங்கிய பொருள்கட்கு எல்லாம் சான்று அவன் இதுவே வேத முடிவு இது சரதம் என்றான்.
He is there. He is in a small place like this. The most indivisible part of the smallest of the atoms. You can even go down to neutron, electron, whatever it is. Even those indivisible parts, even in that he is there. Mameru Kundinum Uldan, he is there in the mountains. In the Thuninum Uldan, he is very much here on the pillar. Hiranyakasipu became so furious and fumed, said, okay, Then Hiranyakasipu shouted, "Let us see. If what you say turns out to be untrue, I will finish you off with this sword itself."
கனகன் உருமினான் உம்பர்க்கும் உனக்கும் ஒத்து இவ்வுலகு எங்கும் பறந்துள்ளனை கம்பத்தின் வழியே காண காட்டுகே. உம்பர்க்கும் உனக்கும் ஒத்து இவ்வுலகு எங்கும் பறந்துள்ளனை கம்பத்தின் வழியே காண காட்டுகே. காட்டிடாயேல் கும்பத்தின் கரியை கோள்மா கொன்றன நின்னை கொன்று உன் செம்பொத்த குருதி தேக்கி உடலையும் தின்பே என்றான் கனகன்.
So brandishing the sword, the Asura leapt from the throne towards the pillar and struck at it with a mighty blow of his fist and split it into two. What a wonder! O all-pervading Bhagavane, Guruvairappa, you shine in all the three worlds, in a pillar as well as a particle of dust. How is it possible to describe what happened next? After the splitting of the pillar all at once, will you, the embodiment of compassion, bear, even for a moment, your devotees suffering from such endless miseries? As you pervade the entire universe, how could it be that you are not in the column? The truth is, as believed by Prahlada, you did manifest your omnipresence everywhere, in all the pillars there, in everything else around Prahlada, so that anything that is pointed out by Kashipu, you can be there readily to come out. So thereby you are in that pillar which Kashipu pointed out, in a form capable of killing his father Hiranyakasipu according to his own obtained boon. He thought he was invincible because he has got such a vast boon of so many adjectives. Who cannot kill him? What cannot kill him? But you are waiting there in the pillar to kill him in the terms that Kashipu had demanded. You did appear in such wonderful and terrifying form that I am unable to narrate it immediately. Bhagavane, O Pavanapuravasin, just as Prahlada was tormented by Hiranyakasipu, I am being tormented by many external diseases. I have taken complete refuge in you. You, who are all merciful, release me from the miseries of all such diseases and enable me to fix my mind on the final emancipation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya.
Narayana 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 Hare Krishna Guruvayurappa